Lauren, you're on mute.
Let's do that again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Startmate Demo Day Summer 21, Demo Day Amplified, supported by Launch Vic. My name is Lauren Kaplan, and I'm Principal at Startmate. One of your hosts today, and would like to also introduce my colleagues on screen here, Community and Partnerships Associate Ryan Walker, Events and Outreach Associate Bronte McHenry, our Head of Accelerator, Sascha Kerbert, and of course, Startmate CEO, Michael Batko. You'll be seeing our faces regularly throughout the afternoon's proceedings. Before we officially start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we're all tuning in today. I'm joining you from the lands of the Gubbi Gubbi people in Noosa in Queensland, and I pay my respects to their elders past and present.
And on behalf of Startmate, I'd like to acknowledge the mana whenua of Aotearoa New Zealand. We invite you all to use the chat function to let us know where you're joining from today. Acknowledge the land and the original custodians of who that you'll be presenting from.
Before we dive into our jam-packed agenda of amazing presentations from some of the most exciting startups across Australia and New Zealand today, I wanted to share a few quick details on how today's Demo Day experience will run. As you'll see in our agenda under the Sessions tab, every Summer 21 cohort company will be sharing their press over a 5-minute session. In these sessions, we will share the company's pitch video, followed by a live Q&A with the founding team. And our founders will be joined in those sessions by one of the mentors that they've been working closely with over the last 3 months, who will be ultimately facilitating that conversation. So obviously 5 minutes, much time, and the sessions will be running back to back. So you will need to jump to the next session once the current one wraps up. If you happen to be exploring the social lounge, which is being supported by our friends at AWS today, or you might be in our Summer 21 Startup Arena through the event, please rest assured broadcast notifications that will pop up in the top right corner of your screen every time a new session is about to begin, which hopefully will make it really easy for you to be where you want to be at all times. If you want to spend time socializing and exploring the event environment, either during the proceedings or for our designated between the pitches, you can visit the Summer 21 Arena, which is packed with booths showcasing our incredible Summer 21 cohort, just like their in-person demo day would have been. Here you can rewatch pitches, download additional resources, and even chat to the founders who will join their booth shortly after the pitch. You can also jump over to the AWS Social Lounge, where you can connect with other event attendees over video chat and talk about anything you want. The tables all have different names, which reflect all the benefits AWS offers their startups through their Activate program. Consider these to be conversation prompts, but of course, let your imagination go wild when you're talking to your fellow attendees. The AWS Startups team have been active supporters of the Australian ecosystem for almost a decade, and as founders themselves have worked hard behind the scenes to accelerate the success of many of our Startmate companies over the years. And for all of you tuning in tonight, AWS will offer 5,000 worth of credits to every founder watching the broadcast to help you get started on your own idea. If you have any questions, visit the AWS table in the social lounge, where Accelerator Business Development Manager Daniel Parinetto will be on hand to answer your questions. Over to you, Bronte.
Hi everyone, lovely to meet you, lovely to be here. Demo Day is a huge and exciting thing to happen. So throughout the course of the event, there'll be pitches in 6 pitch blocks, and there'll be 2 breaks. And in those breaks, you'll be hearing from members of the team, and you'll also enjoy some live music and a short film. We'll also be running a social media competition throughout the event. So basically, if you post about Demo Day on LinkedIn or Twitter, tag us and use the hashtag StartMateDemoDay, you'll go in the running to win a prize, which includes a whole bunch of stuff, some of which are products from startups you'll hear from tonight. So check out our Twitter or our LinkedIn if you want more information. And I'll hand it over to Batko now.
Hello and welcome to Demo Day. I'm Michael Batko, CEO at Startmate. And first up, I want to tell you about a little feature. So if you just look down here, you have a little emoji button. And so let's try it right now. You can give me lots and lots of heart emojis. There we go. Lots of smiley faces, sad faces. Absolutely, please keep using them for the founders, for the sessions. Keep them coming. Love it. and actually support everybody throughout this demo day. This demo day is very much designed in the Startmate spirit. When people ask us what's the Startmate programs look like, the first thing we will hear from everyone in the Startmate team is that we do not teach. We do not tell you what to do. Startmate is very much a buffet, and we don't spoon anyone. You make it whatever you wanted to make it, and you control your own journey. So Demo Day is designed in that spirit. You make it whatever you want it to be. You can jump in and out of sessions, ask questions, chat to other people. You have the full power control of your own journey. Before we dive in, let me first give you a bit of a Startmate update. You would have seen lots and lots of new faces in the past couple of weeks at Startmate. So yeah, Startmate is growing. Startmate is not a 2-person show anymore. We are a team of 11 and about to make 2 more offers. So over the last 11 years, Startmate really started first as a mentor-driven seed fund. And as most of you know, every mentor invests their personal money into the cohort they're involved in. And this gives them the kind of skin in the game element and ensures that everyone is 100% engaged. And as part of Accelerator, we've now invested in 150 plus companies worth over $1 billion. And now we raise $4 million in funds every single year, investing into 40 companies. So it's safe to say that the Accelerator has now truly matured, and Startmate is now entering kind of that stage to support founders. And I like to think about it before and after the Accelerator as those startups are maturing now. So the easiest way to explain Startmate is kind of as the epicenter of startup ambition. And to truly be an epicenter, we're bringing the 3 key groups together. And that's founders, operators, and investors. So on the founder front, what's happening at Startmate now is we have the Accelerator, and we're now going even earlier before the Accelerator, launching our Founders Fellowship this year, which Sascha is going to tell you a little bit more about in a second. And then after the Accelerator, we'll be actually launching a growth club as well, probably next year. On the second front, which is the operator front, lots of you already know that we first started with diversity at the forefront and run 2 fellowship cohorts. Many of the participants are actually here tonight as well, of 100 women every cohort twice a year. We're about to kick off our first full-scale student fellowship program with 100 students in June, as well as launching our MVP fellowship for engineers later this year as well. So you will hear much more about those programs actually in our break sessions as well, and the fellowship team will give you a great oversight there too. Lastly, on the investor front, we're just about to finish our first MVP cohort of first believers. It gives people from diverse backgrounds insights into startup investing who wouldn't have been otherwise able to invest. So if you're thinking about all of those programs, Startmate will now be serving the entire life cycle of startups. From the very beginning of founding companies, accelerating them, raising money, first rounds, through to the end of hiring students, engineers, investors, etc., etc. So there's literally been never a better time to be part of the Startmate family. Talking about the Start family, that's why I'm so incredibly excited, because I get to work with this awesome Startmate team, many of whom you're actually going to meet tonight at Demo Day. Also, none of this would have been possible without Launchwick, which means that the majority of our team is actually now based in Victoria. We're just about to get our first ever Startmate office and headquarters in Melbourne. So now is the emoji time. So a huge shout out, there we go, to Launchwick. Finally, it might seem like a very small change. For us at Startmate, it actually means a lot. As of today, we've just relaunched our website and we dropped our .au. So now we're officially on startmate.com. And just like everything at Startmate though, we're taking our own advice to heart. We launched our website before it was perfect and we're still slightly embarrassed. So it is very work in progress. Please stick with us, but it is a very exciting change. There we go, lots of love hearts. I don't even need to remind anybody anymore. Next up, I'm going to hand it over to Sascha, our head of Accelerator, who will tell you a little bit more about the Accelerator cohort.
Thanks, Batko. Just triple checking that I was off mute. Hey everyone, super exciting to be here talking to all of you today. As you can tell, we've invested in some new software for demos here. We still haven't quite upgraded to the package that actually allows me to see the audience. So to me, it still feels a little like I'm stuck in a room talking to myself. But that doesn't matter today because I'm still just as excited as ever to be able to talk to you all about the Summer 21 cohort. So this was our second fully virtual cohort, and we're learning more and more about what makes virtual program delivery work, as well as starting to understand what some of the areas we need to double down on and improve are. I don't have time to dive into all of those elements today. If you're keen to learn more about what we're learning from the founders that are coming through our programs, we publicly published the raw data from our mid-program survey results, which I think Bronte is going to chuck into the chat just on the right. So you can check out how we've synthesized the learnings as well as actually looking through the raw data, so the verbatim comments from the founders themselves. I also just wanted to touch on the magic that makes the Accelerator tick that Batko touched on before. Really, the core element of the Accelerator that sets it up for success is that the way that it aligns incentives really well between mentors and founders. The mentors, that some of whom you'll see today, are actually all literally directly invested in each company in the cohort that you're going to see today. So this means that when the founders in our Accelerator succeed, the mentors succeed, which creates this flow of money back in next generation of founders to support the ecosystem as it scales. The other cool part is that when our founders succeed, we often see our founders coming back 1 or 2 years down the track as mentors for the future Startmate cohorts. Ultimately, the idea is that shared success powers the magic behind the program, and I think we're really starting to see that play out over the last couple of years. This cohort also marks the largest ever fund we've raised. So we raised a $2 million fund from our mentors. And the thing that enabled us to do actually expand this to become our largest ever cohort. So we've been able to run 18 amazing companies who you'll all meet just in a moment through our Accelerator program. The other cool evolution that I wanted to touch on, which has really been starting to kick in over the last 6 months or so, has been the early signs that all of the other programs Michael was talking about are beginning to interact, and they're creating these beautiful self-reinforcing feedback loops, which ultimately increases the value of each of the individual programs. So some small examples of this, our alumni companies from the last few cohorts, as well as stretching further back to 2015, 2014, are actually starting to view the fellowship as their key hiring destination. And we've seen, even from the Melbourne 20 cohort 6 months ago, those companies are making their key early hires from the talent pool that exists in the Women's Fellowship. On top of that, thanks to our wonderful rocket man, Mr. Gosh, we've launched a student fellowship, which you'll hear a bit more about the evolution on later in the show. But from an early cohort of 20 students that were looking to kickstart their career in startups and tech, our Startmate alumni were able to extend 5 full-time hires to students for their first job, which is just awesome. On top of that, we've now got an investor program where we're giving investors an opportunity to learn about the skill of investing and write their first checks in early stage companies. And the Summer 21 cohort actually served as the first example where we're able to bring those 2 programs together and get early stage founders in the rooms with investors that will look at the early believers in those companies. So fundamentally, the key message is there's a lot of magic happening right now, and it's really just the beginning. And we're hoping that the culmination of all of this is that Startmate becomes the best place across Australia and New Zealand to build a company. So as Michael mentioned before, we're actually going to be launching a Founders Fellowship this year as well. So I want to give you a little bit more context about that before we dive into Demo Day. One of the problems we've been facing up until now is that we've largely been constrained to working with founders that already have a founding team and idea established. But we want to be able to support founders even earlier, ideally before they've even become founders and before they've started a company. So our MVP cohort's going to be kicking off in July, and that's going to be bringing a group of equally talented individuals together before they've started a company. So if you want to found a company rather than work for one, and you have unique insights into broken industries, then come chat to me after Demo Day. All right, so we're about to dive in, but before we do that, I also just wanted to acknowledge the incredible achievements that the founders in this cohort have made. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really been incredible seeing the impacts that a group of similarly hungry founders have on each other's ambition levels. Couple that with the best group of mentors, alumni, and supporters in the region, and they've really achieved some incredible things. Personally, for me, working with them over the last 12 weeks has been the most rewarding thing this year. So, without any further ado, why don't we jump in and see our first company? So the first cab off the ranks today is going to be a company called GGWP Academy. And there's something exciting in store for you.
Bye guys, a notification will pop up at the top of your menu bar, so just jump in when it does. Bye.